Previous lectures, we have understood the time complexity analysis framework. So, why we ignore the constants, okay? How you define your framework, analysis framework for finding the time complexity of your algorithm. Now, we'll see the more robust representation or notation you can call for the analysis of an algorithm. Basically, time complexity analysis of the algorithm, that we call it as asymptotic notation. Before we start the different notations, let's understand what exactly this asymptotic notation means. From previous lectures, we understood what exactly matters is the order of growth. So how the algorithm grows, okay, the execution time or the time grows with respect to increasing the input size. So we assume the input size mathematically to be infinite, okay, positive infinity. That means very large input size. How my algorithm behaves. Okay. Now, what is asymptotic notation? So from the order of growth, we are going to modify some more things. You are going to basically ignore some more factors. So you already ignored constant. Now you will ignore some more lower terms, or you will only keep dominant terms. So what is this and why it is required and how it works? Let us understand that. And then in the next video, we will start with the notations of asymptotic formulas. Okay. So what is asymptotic efficiency analysis? Bypasses small parts at scale. Okay, at scale means when the input size approaches infinity, that is a very big input size. Constants becomes insignificant. This already you have seen. Tracks the core growing term, whichever term is the of highest order, that we will consider. Why we will see in this video. Okay, why it matters and how the this asymptotic notations or this framework works. You can take an example in real world. For example, if I am buying 2 apples, okay, and then I am paying 5 rupees for the carry bag, so that actually matters, right? 5 rupees for only 2 apples is matters. Okay, so that is for, you can imagine it as a small input size. Now, if I have 1000 apples, if I have 1000 apples, that 5 rupee bag doesn't matter, right? Because I'm buying 1000 apples. So that is, you can treat it as at higher scales or higher, larger input size. Okay, so these small terms, small things doesn't matter. The constants, small terms, only the dominant term will matter because 1000 apples is dominant here compared to 5 rupee. The cost of 1000 apples is dominant compared to 5 rupee bag. But when I take 5 rupee bag for 2 apples, then 5 rupee matters. It looks like it matters. That is the reason why you take input size to be mathematically infinite. Now, what is this asymptotic notation means? Okay, so mathematical understanding, let us see it. So it comes from the term asymptote. So already know asymptote, and which is a line which is either parallel to your x-axis or y-axis. So this whatever example I given is a vertical asymptote. This blue line is parallel to my y-axis. So it's a vertical asymptote. N is the x-axis, that is your input size. So why you call it as asymptote notation? See, whatever growth I have this f of n, this yellow line, the function. So n is the input size. It grows as big and tries to touch this asymptote, vertical asymptote. So they mathematically we say they meet at infinity is the concept. So when n becomes infinity, this curve, whatever I'm seeing, the function touches the vertical asymptote. So that is the reason we call asymptote. But in practice, it is not possible. See, the curve is ever growing, but it will never touch the asymptote for any n value. Only when n reaches infinity, okay, we say that it touches the vertical asymptote. So that is where the name comes from, asymptotic notation. So we assume an asymptote and then we measure the growth rate. Okay, and assume only at infinity, and the input size is very big, very big, okay, infinite mathematically, then only touches. So it never touches in practice. Okay. Because input size can never be infinite in our real world, right? So it's a mathematical notation. Evaluates the behavior profile of resource functions, say t of n or f of n, strictly as data scales to infinity. So that is where the name comes from, asymptote. Now we'll see in the asymptotic notation, we only consider the higher order terms. So for example, in this example, n square, let's say f of n is equal to n square plus 3n plus 7. So I'm saying f of n is the growth rate, okay, order of growth, okay, or asymptotic notation, first to find the order of growth. So we ignore constant. If that is done. So already understood in the previous lecture why we will ignore constants, because they are for your system hardware. Okay, so you can remove them. That doesn't contribute much. Now there are two terms, n square and 3n. Here I'm saying this growth is equivalent to n square only. Okay, so order of growth of this function for this particular algorithm, time complexity, is n square. Is the order of growth. I have ignored 3n. Why? Let us see this example here. This is x-axis is input size, and then number of operations I am performing. We are calculating the time complexity as the operations, right? Count of the operations, not as the CPU clock time or real world clock time. We measure not in seconds or milliseconds. We measure in terms of asymptotic notations, that is order of growth. Now, if I take this n square plus 3n plus 7, the entire function, this is the blue line indicates the graph, okay, that curve. And if you take only dominant term n square, you see the behavior. So this dotted line, dashed line, orange line, this is my n square. So if you observe here, most of the function's behavior is captured in n square. Okay? The behavior of the order or order of growth of this function f of n is captured in n square, most of it, because it is C here and blue line is here. So that means what? 3n plus 7, whatever is this is not a dominant term. Okay, 3n is not dominant. N square is dominant here. So we only consider n square. So this is the basics of the asymptotic notations. So finally, you select the order of growth. Okay, and by selecting the most dominant term in the your function. Okay. Now you can see and prove it mathematically also. So let us say why this matter. Let us take the same example. F of n is equal to, we will say, n square plus 3n plus 7. Now just divide this function by say n square, the dominant term. Also divide it here by n square. Now what will happen? So it will become 1 plus 3 by n plus 7 by n square. Now what is our assumption? We are studying the asymptotic notation as the input size n approaches infinity. So to apply this, I have to use limit n approaches infinity, 1 plus 3 by n plus 7 by n square. Okay, now what will happen? This implies, you can write it as finally f of n divided by n square is equal to, so what will be this limit value? So this becomes 0, 3 by n. So n, if I put infinity here, it becomes 0, entire term. Here also it becomes 0. So this is equal to 1. The limit evaluates to 1. Now this implies what? F of n is equal to, you multiply this, equal to n square. Right? So we have proved it mathematically that the dominant term matters. So order of growth. You can also use it for comparison. Why? We're considering at the asymptotic notations only for the large input when n approaches infinity. So let us take this algorithms A and B. Okay. Algorithm A has a say time complexity of 5n plus 3. It's a linear. And B has quadratic, n square plus 3n. Now let us take for what values? Okay, for small values and for the large values, how this curve behave. Okay, comparison using asymptotics. So let us say you will find the first point where they cross over, okay, or they join. So for that, you just evaluate directly 5n plus 3. Let me write it. So A is equal to B when the growth rates are equal, when these two are equal. So it will be equal when this is equal, their functions are equal. So this is nothing but n square, and write it as minus 2n minus 3 is equal to 0. You just factorize and form, find the n value. N square minus 3n plus n minus 3 is equal to 0. So n minus n into n minus 3 plus 1 into n minus 3. So n equal to minus 1 comma 3. Now we will not take this minus 1. Why? That means what? N is input size is negative. So input size is always positive. Right? Whatever you give input, it cannot be negative. So we will take only 3. But exactly this says at n equal to 3, input size equal to 3, both algorithm behave equally. So if I plot a graph here, so this is n, my input size, x-axis, and let us plot a function f of n for both A and B. Now, what is the point we have found out? That equivalent is n equal to 3, where both of the functions meet, okay, or crossover. Now, before n equal to 3, what is the condition here? You just find out in this. So A is 5n plus 3. If I put n equal to 2, which is less than 3, right? 13. B is n square. So 4 plus 3n, 6. Okay, so this is n square plus 3n. So this is 10. If you observe here, before n equal to 3, that is before crossover, we feel that this algorithm B is doing well, right? Because it is taking only 10 operations. Here it is taking 13 operations. So we may find it that P is better, but you are doing it for the large scale, okay, large scale input, so big data. So initially, if I draw the curves, so red for A, so A seems like above, okay. Then n square seems it is performing well, okay. It is like this something till this point. So this is basically we already seen in the analysis framework. So this is we call it as n naught, okay. So for n greater than or equal to n naught, you have to check the behavior of the curve, critical point. Now if you observe, if I put any other value now greater than 3, what will happen? N, if I put it as say 4, okay, 4 to any other value, you put say 100 or 1000. So as the input size increases, that's what mathematically we say n approaches infinity. This goes till infinity mathematically. So now what will happen? So A, if I take n equal to say 100, take 100, it will be the 5n, 5 into 100 plus 3, 503. B will be 100 square, okay. So 100 square is 10 power 4 plus 300. So definitely see this B is now growing faster, okay. So if you see this A is actually, if you see, is a linear function, it will look like a straight line, it will grow in a straight line fashion, but n square is quadratic. So after this point it grows like this. So if you behave now from this point, if you observe at this point crossover, we see that algorithm A is behaving better, okay. Algorithm A is behaving better. So if I put asymptotic notation on it, so I'll say algorithm, so only the dominant term is n. So if I f of n is equivalent to n, B, if you see f of n, dominant term is n square. So n square, the order of growth for n square is high. So algorithm A is preferred. That is how we find out when input size grows, approaches infinity. So let us identify some dominant terms in these examples. 7n cube plus 50 n square plus 100. So here constant is ignored. Then you have n square, n cube. Okay, 7 and 50 you can ignore as the constants. Why you ignore? I already explained in the previous lectures in the analysis framework. So a dominant term n cube and n square, which is dominant n cube. So this is n cube. 2 power n and n power 10. So 2 power n is the dominant term. You have n log n and phi n. So n is linear. N log n is like semi-quadratic. Okay, n into something. So obviously n log n is the dominant term because we are always assuming n is greater than 0. Input size is greater than 0. Here n factorial 2 power n, n power 5. So it's a polynomial. Then you have exponential, then factorial. So n factorial is the fastest growing. So that is about the asymptotic basic understanding. So all these are required before we approach any problem. So first 3 videos whatever made are the fundamentals. Please don't ignore. We watch it. Okay. In the next video, we'll try to understand the notations. There are different notations. The 5 notations we'll understand: big O, big omega, big theta, small omega, and small o. Okay. So why these are required? What exactly they do in the asymptotic notation? These are called as asymptotic notations. You understood the concept of what is an asymptotic notation. So what are different types of asymptotic notations are these: big O, big omega, theta, small omega, and small o. Okay. So you'll understand these functions, these asymptotic notations in the next video lectures one by one. So thank you for watching. Please like, subscribe, and share.